Hello everybody, RoyalRapids here, and welcome back to another challenge video. I want to thank YouTube user Jordan Holmes for suggesting this one. Today we will be doing a Poochyena in FireRed. This is not going to be that fun, considering the fact that Poochyena has absolutely god-awful stats, excels in absolutely nothing, and is weak in absolutely everything. It's a weak early game dark type found in the Hoenn region, and I would not recommend using either it or its evolved form whatsoever in any capacity. So we grab the potion from our PC, head outside, go through the usual Oak speech as we head back to his lab, and this time I replace Charmander with Poochyena for no reason. He'll be neutral towards all three starters. So I grabbed up the Poochyena, and I name him Poochyena, which is really fitting to what he actually gives me throughout this run, because he is absolutely awful. Never use this thing. Oh my god, the rival picks Squirtle, and we face up its rival Gym. And this first battle doesn't really indicate any particular hardships. I mean, it's just like a normal first battle. We just use Howl a couple times and use Tackle, and we barely beat him just like normal. So not a bad start so far. So you might notice our Poochyena here is a slight bit different. It's now a female instead of a male, because I had to reset. Because the last time the Poochyena I had horrible IVs and a horrible nature. So I figured it would be a good idea to try the optional rival fight, so let's see how it goes. He sends out his Pidgey, and we use a couple Howls, try to get an advantage, and we get destroyed by a Pidgey. Really indicates how the rest of this run is going to go, isn't it? So here we are in Viridian Forest, already getting destroyed by random Weedles and whatnot. This is just not going to be a fun run, as you can clearly tell, as our Poochyena is having trouble defeating Weedles and Kakunas. So now it's time for the fight against Brock. This one did not go so bad. I actually did this one on my first try, as both Onix and Geodude have pretty poor special defense, so Bite brings them down pretty handily, earning us our first of 8 Kanto Gym badges. This time I actually pick up Thief in Mount Moon, thanks to that commenter, but this time I won't be using it since Poochyena learns it by level up, and I already have Bite. This time I'll pick up the Helix Fossil, because why the hell not? I picked up the Dome last time, this time I'll do the Helix, and now we're out of Mount Moon. So, next up is Rival number 2. That was a nightmare in the Ghastly Challenge. We'll see how it goes this time. And honestly, it really wasn't that bad. I think this was only my second try doing it. He didn't really have anything that was super effective against me. So I just basically bit his entire team to death. Abra, of course, stood no chance, and we defeated Rival number 2 pretty handily. Finally, something easy for once in this run. And now we're losing on Nugget Bridge. Wow. So I figured I'd try Misty to get some extra experience, and yeah, I pretty much got destroyed by Starmie on every single attempt. Gotta be kidding me. So I grinded up in the grass a bit and learned Swagger, which used to be a lifesaver for this run, enabling me to be able to beat that Mankey trainer. So now it's time to try Misty again after beating all the trainers up near Bill's house, and we use Swagger to our advantage, beating both Staryu and Starmie by the power of Swagger. Thank God for this move, or else I would be dead in the water multiple times. So why am I showing this battle, you ask? Because it took me 5 attempts to beat this trainer, because he has a Machop. Poochyena is that weak that he cannot beat a Rocket Grunt, like 10 or 11 levels lower than him, without multiple attempts. And also, I got the TM for Dig, which I'm going to teach to Poochyena to help us out for the next gym. But still, wow, this Pokemon is god-awful. So I pick up the Versus Seeker in the Vermilion Pokemon Mart and use that to face a bunch of the trainers north of Vermilion City to get Poochyena extra experience. So now it's time for Rival number 3, who actually was not that bad. This was in fact my first attempt. Takedown paired with my high attack stat was able to pretty much destroy all of his members and earn me a victory against him. Then just as always, I climb up the stairs, rub the captain's back, and pick up the HM for cut. It's gym time. All I have to say about this gym battle is, good thing I taught it Dig, because it was able to one-shot both Voltorb and Pikachu, and also Raichu, earning me my 3rd out of 8 Kanto Gym badges. Next up was Rock Tunnel, and oh boy, what a place it was. In the Ghastly Challenge, it was an absolutely joke of a place, but here, I died probably like 7 or 8 times, just random trainers that had Machops and Machokes on their team, and ran out of PP multiple times as well. So, just as always, we head over to Celadon City and decide that we take on the Rocket Game Corner, defeating multiple grunts to get ourselves easy experience. Giovanni battle number 1 actually gave me some pretty significant trouble. This was my 6th attempt versus him. And I used Dig to defeat Onix, Crunch to defeat Rhyhorn, and Kangaskhan was the one that gave me trouble since it has pretty high special defense and defense as well. But ultimately, I was able to defeat him and earn myself the Silph Scoop. So next up we head to Lavender Tower and take on rival number 4. This was my first attempt versus him. Once again, takedown paired with my high attack stat was able to pretty much defeat everything. And Crunch was super effective versus 2 of his members, one-shotting it. Even though I was intimidated, I was just so much higher level than all of his team, so I was able just to brute force out all 5 of his members and earn myself the easy victory. Lavender Tower as a whole was pretty much a joke since I'm a dark type and I'm super effective against ghost types and I'm so much higher level than all of them. I was pretty much able just to defeat everything in my path, get the Pokeflute from Mr. Fuji, and move on. So next we had to Silphsco and take on rival number 5, which actually was not that horrible. I think did a little bit of swagger luck. I think this was my 3rd or 4th attempt versus him, but ultimately it really was not that bad. Crunch beats both Alakazam and Execute every time. The only real threats were Pidgeot and Blastoids, but I got the right amount of swagger luck and was able to beat him pretty easily, surprisingly enough. The rival's been quite easy in this run. So next up was the second Giovanni fight. He leads off with Nidorino, who we one-shot with Dig. Nidoqueen was actually the one I had trouble with the most, which is why I took a couple attempts to defeat it, but once I got through it without taking any damage, I needed a bit of swagger luck versus Kangaskhan, which I got, and of course Rhyhorn goes down to a couple digs, earning me the victory versus Giovanni once again, and netting me the Master Ball from the Silphco president. So next we're going to head over to the Fighting Dojo. Yeah, of course, no, we ain't going there. So anyways, we decided to take on Gym Leader Sabrina next because we are a Dark type, and I left this run in just to show you how bad Poochyena is. Imagine being a Dark type who is immune to Psychic type attacks, yet losing to the Psychic type Gym Leader. So round 2 versus Sabrina goes much better. You take out Kadabra with a Crunch, Venomoth with a couple takedowns. We take on Mr. Mime with a Crunch, or 3 crunches actually, and then we take on Alakazam with another 2 crunches because he spams Calm Mind. Then we have to go for takedown a couple times, earning us the Marsh Badge, 5th out of 8. Next up is Erica, the Grass-type Gym Leader, and since she's so much lower level than us, just 4 total crunches take out her entire team, earning us the Rainbow Badge, the actual 5th out of 8 in the Kanto region. So next up, I decided to the Safari Zone, which you know from the last run that I absolutely despise because of the step limit. It also took me 2 tries to get through this time, but this time there's something very, very special we want to get through here. Of course we want to pick up the gold teeth because we need strength, but we're going to head up over here and get TM32 Double Team. I'm going to hold off as long as I can from using this, but I think it's going to eventually be necessary. So next up, I go all around the Kanto region, defeating pretty much every trainer that I can find near Lavender Town or Fuchsia City, or on any of the water routes interconnecting them. Because my Poochyena is having major trouble, and I just need to make sure that it's high enough level to take out the later threats in the game. So next up, we arrive at Cinnabar Island as we head into the Pokemon Mansion, and we head down to the basement, picking up the secret key, which enables us to unlock the Cinnabar Gym. Fight versus Blaine went pretty standard. I did this on my first attempt, just a couple crunches since it's special in this gen. The double intimidates don't really affect me all that much. I'm able to take down his Growlithe, Arcanine, Rapidash, and Ponyta relatively easily, earning me the 7th gym badge. So last but not least, it's the final gym fight versus Giovanni. This one didn't go too bad, since a lot of his Pokemon have bad special defense and my Poochyena is just extremely high level to this point in the game. Crunch pretty much took care of everything, earning me, yes, and I said earning this time, my 8th and final Kanto gym badge. So next up is rival number 6. Let's see how this one goes. He sends out Pidgeot, a couple crunches do the deal, but we're already at low health. We go to level 73, but since he still has unevolved Pokemon like Growlithe and Execute, we are pretty much just easily able to get swagger luck on Blastoids and take him down in our first try. Let me just say that Victory Road was not fun. I regularly lost to random trainers at least like 10 to 15 times. I would just get absolutely destroyed all the time. Once I got to the end, painstakingly, I decided to teach my Poochyena Double Edge because it's a stronger version of Takedown, and I want to use my high attack stat one way or another. Let me just say I probably tried Lorelei like 35, 40 times, and I could not beat her at level 75. I could barely ever even get past Dugong, and if I even got past Dugong and Cloyster, this is my best attempt right here, Slowbro would take me out without fail. So I basically had no other choice but to use all the rare candies that I accumulated throughout the game, 8 total, 1 more than the Ghastly run, and I tried Lorelei again, and again, and again, and no matter what I did, I could not defeat her at level 83. no matter what I did, I would not get past Lapras, no matter what I did. Literally, I could use Crunch, I could use Double Edge, I could get multiple crits, I could get hits and confusion with Swagger, but I could not get past Lapras no matter what I did. I had to do it. I had to break out the TM for Double Team. Without evasion boosting, I was not even able to live like 2 or 3 hits from any of Lorelei's attacks. So I decided to get rid of Dig because it was kind of useless to me at this point, and replaced it with Double Team. So, despite having Double Team, Lorelei still took me roughly like 50 attempts to beat. I was sitting there for like probably about a half hour to 45 minutes trying to get enough Double Teams up to beat her. Because half the time I'd get 4 or 5 Double Teams up, but then Dugong would just crit me with Ice Beam, or Cloyster would crit me with Dive. Like, no matter what, I had so much trouble defeating this fight. I was so worried about Bruno the entire run, but it turned out that Lorelei was just an absolute nightmare due to how bulky most of her Pokemon were, and just how I had little to nothing to be able to take them out reliably. But finally I got to Jinx and was able to take it out with a couple crunches. So next up, I get to the one that I was so worried about, Bruno. And let's see how bad this is. Ultimately, I probably tried this another like 25, 30 times where I realized it was impossible. I could set up Double Teams on Onix, but the issue was I didn't have a move that could do reliable damage to the other Pokemon. Double Edge would end up just killing me, and Crunch was not very effective. So ultimately, no matter what I did, I could not have enough health to be able to beat Bruno. So it turns out evasion boosting wasn't enough, but I found out a move that I could actually use to do reliable damage. I picked up the TM for Return, and then I painstakingly went to Victory Road, held down the spacebar, and grinded my Poochyena from level 83 all the way up to level 100. I am so mad that I had to do that. This challenge took up so much of my time, and even though the final time took the ghastly time, that is not anywhere near the truth. So now we head back in at level 100 to take on Lorelei, and honestly it wasn't hard this time. Return was my saving grace since my Poochyena was level 100. It had ridiculous amounts of happiness since I leveled it up 17 levels in Victory Road. I didn't need much swagger luck, if any at all. I was able to basically one-shot a lot of her members, or two-shot them at most. The only one that gave me trouble was Lapras because of its immense bulk. But ultimately Jinx went down to 1 crunch, and now it was time for Bruno. Bruno obviously is a fighting type Elite Four member, which is really bad for me, but ultimately I was able to set up a bunch of Double Teams on Onix, and then just basically plow my way through his team using Crunch and Return. Return basically took out most of his members in 1 or 2 hits. Crunch took out the both Onixes, and ultimately earned me my victory versus Bruno that I so hardly worked for. Next up was Elite Four member Agatha, the Ghost type Elite Four member, so I did not have much trouble with this. I actually beat it on my first try. I didn't even have to set up Double Teams in this run. I literally could just plow through with Crunch and Return. Return took care of the Golbat and Arbok, and Crunch took care of the Gengars and Haunter, ultimately earning me that victory easily. Next up was Lance, which was actually easier than in the Ghastly run. I never thought I'd say that, but we were at a much higher level. I was able to set up a few Double Teams on Gyarados, and by a few, I mean 6. And then I just easily crunched and returned my way through the remainder of his team. Quite a nice break here, beating Agatha and Lance this easily. But who knows if the champion battle will be that easy. Yeah, like I said, Dragonite went down to a few returns, and Dragonair both went down to 2 each, earning me the victory over the final Elite Four member. So this was it, the apex of this absolutely god-awful run. It probably took me like 7 attempts here, because I was just so brain dead after a certain point. I didn't realize that Alakazam couldn't hurt me, so I was able to set up 6 Double Teams on Alakazam, and then just basically plow through the remainder of his team because they were unable to damage me. Rhydon went down to 2 crunches. Arcanine intimidated me, but went down to a few crunches after he full restored. Twice at that. So it took about 6 rounds to take him down. Executor, weak to crunch, almost went down in 1 shot, then puts us to sleep, then we one-shot it. Last but not least, Blastoise couldn't hit us because we had so many Double Teams up. And finally, this absolutely horrid run comes to an end. We have defeated Pokemon FireRed with a Poochyena, barely. It took us level 100 and evasion hacks to be able to beat this. So I think I finally got a taste for what a real Pokemon challenge was like. The Ghastly one was ridiculously easy due to its insane base 100 special attack for a first form Pokemon. Poochyena really showed how absolutely awful these runs can be. So I want to thank you guys for watching, I want to thank you guys for suggesting, and I'll see you guys in whatever challenge I decide to do next.